There's a little bit of ground up now.
Cheers, everybody. Welcome to Michigan Bros Grow Show, episode 273. We've got Chuck D's Nugs hanging out tonight, Russ and Emily. Of course, it's a me for Growly. I think Red Setter will be here, probably Tara a little bit later. How are we all doing tonight? How was your weekend?
I had a good weekend.
You had a busy
weekend.
busy.
I did. Yeah, I went to see
he
my
dug
dad.
his own grave out back.
First, I went and saw my dad.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
So I went and saw my dad, who had moved from Flint to Flushing. So,
Okay.
So I went and visited him and saw his new place, and then came back home, and I was like, "Oh, it's good weather. I could get some work done outside." And so I had in my mind where I wanted to have a long Hugo bed, and so I went out and I roped off just like the first 6 foot by 4 or 5 foot, section of it. And then I was going to dig that out and then just keep replicating that down until I got to the end. I did that first section. I was like, you know what? I just popped the sod off. And I was like, you know what? I want to go all the way down. I want to dig the dirt out that I want to do. So I went and pulled the tarp and dug the dirt. I popped the sod just off to the side. And then I dug like another shovel, I don't know, 6 to 8 inches more lower down, and put all the dirt onto a tarp.
Okay, he found this fucking just giant ass piece of metal stuck in the ground from something, just a piece of rebar, and just sorting the stone bit out. It was freaking crazy to see, just a little bit. Like that thing was stuck in there pretty damn good. So
it was just irritating me. I can't have it. It was just sticking there, so I had to try to pull it out. I got it eventually. But I ended up digging it, and some parts was a little bit deeper than other parts. I was trying to make it level, but it's like, so I would say.
How long was this rebar?
The rebar was probably about
2 foot,
maybe 2 foot. Yeah.
Okay.
And I still don't know what it was in. It must have been in some kind of concrete it was on the edge of the hole, so it was off to the side. But I got it all cleared out. It's probably a 3 foot hole on the shortest side, maybe 4 foot hole on the deepest side. And it's still about 6 foot by 4 to 5 foot rectangle. And then I went and got these chopped logs that I had when I had my mulberry tree fall. So they were like 12 inches tall, probably, and discs that were probably 18 inches to 20 inches, maybe, like that. And I threw all them down, so I had one layer of those all down, big chunks of wood. And then I went and got like the 1 inch pieces of wood and threw a layer of those on. And then I threw all the sod with the grass down on top of that, and then all the dirt on top of that. And now it's just a big mound.
Nice.
And then
are you gonna
put 10 gallons of water down?
Okay, I was kind of wondering if you're trying to speed it up, like get a plant ready. If you're gonna
see the wood that I got, a lot of the big chunks, the bigger pieces, I got off the bottom of the wood pile too, that were touching the ground anyway. They were already so they're pretty heavy and waterlogged already. So that process, as far as soaking up the water, is already kind of started. But I didn't have a lot of greens to throw in, which I needed. Like at the end there, I should have thrown like a bunch of greens, but I didn't have greens, so I just said fuck it. And I just went with what I had, which was
not a whole lot of green out here right now.
yeah. So, but what I'll do is I'll finish off with put some screen compost over top of that pile, and I'm going to do. I really shouldn't plant anything on it, but a ground cover. But
we decided on.
But I'm going to do it. But I'm going to do a watermelon, which is kind of like
okay, that makes sense.
So that's what I'm going to do for this year, and that's it. Hopefully it does well. But I did that all in one night, and that was last night, and so I'm a little sore day. More stiff.
I thought you were gonna tell me you saw you did the one bed, or like remove the sod for the one, and you were just gonna go ham and start making like 12 of these things. Like
that's what I wanted. That's my mind, but not my body doesn't want to do that.
Right. I know that feeling, Brian. I know that feeling. Rolling Smoke made an interesting point, and I've learned about this a little bit recently. It could have been a property market at one time, because they'll use rebar, shove it into the ground, and use that as like a property marker. What you'll see, like when you get your title, your deed, or I guess to your house, it's got all these crazy GPS coordinates and distances and all that. Usually they mark those with like a rebar, or it's like a light pole, or it's a pipe coming out of the ground or something like that. But yeah, they'll just jam them right into the ground, and that's your little tag. So I don't know, could have been something from times past like that.
A little bit in the back, I don't know, maybe it was probably good. I would say 10 foot from the property line. So maybe
you guys acquired some extra frontage in the years.
Dude, I didn't even know it was there, and it was probably 4 foot down until I saw the top.
Oh wow, damn. Okay,
not 4 foot. Not 4
what
foot.
was sticking out
2
was
foot
only,
down,
and it was only sticking out maybe 8 to 10 inches of it
when I yanked it out of there.
Yeah.
But it was off to the side, going like, I don't know, maybe it
at an angle.
fell over. It was at an angle, but yeah, who knows? Who knows what the hell it was?
Right.
But I got plenty of iron in the soil apparently, so I'm good. But no, my soil's all clay too. It's not fun.
Yeah.
But
and that's not like, I mean, for those that are in like very like there's a lot of different kind of what's the word? Like levels of crust, earth, dirt, backyards to what we have around Michigan, because I mean, you go
soil
up in the
horizons is what you're looking for, I think.
Okay, I would have never pulled that out of my ass, but like you look up the like in the northwest, man, of the lower peninsula, and of course the upper peninsula too, but it's just all of a sudden turns to sand.
Yeah.
There's just
guys,
nothing
hold on.
but sand.
Can I just reiterate for a moment for Nuttree here, because he said, Tara, I hope you're not typing and driving. Be careful, please. And I don't want her to have to read that. So Tara, be fucking careful driving home, please. Okay, back to the sand.
She's going to start responding now.
Thanks, Nuttree. It was her reading your message that got her in trouble.
No. I took care of it. I saved everyone. Back to the sand and the sediment.
Yeah, it's super sandy up there. It's all dunes, man.
But there's also a lot of clay, you know what I mean, throughout Michigan. And I assume that's probably in a lot of these like areas that have kind of been developed. You're probably going to experience a little bit more of that. But, what do you do in a situation like that where you're in super sand, super clay? Like you just don't have a lot of like real dirt. And maybe you don't have, the means to like have a huge yard to be composting all your chicken and rabbit manure and all your grass clippings and trees. Is there a way like to combat that when it comes to clay and I guess sand too?
Dude, that's the largest reason why growing up we didn't grow food in the yard that I was in and stuff, when like it would have been a real positive for us to have grown our own food and stuff. And that was, anytime it was brought up, it was, oh, it's too sandy. Oh, it's clay. That's clay. We have clay for their soil. And it was just talked about and brushed over. So like this is really interesting. How do we fix that?
Two strategies that I do is I build above it, raised beds with good soil that I can grow in, because most vegetables that you grow they don't have deep root systems. Yeah.
4 or 6 inches.
So we needed to grow our own food because we couldn't afford to buy it. So we couldn't afford to buy the soil to fill those raised beds. So where would I get that soil and stuff from?
Right from your yard. So you just dig a hole and to dig the dirt from your nearest spot where you have dirt and throw it in that raised bed.
How do you know if it's dirt and not that clay stuff?
Well, let's assume you've got like a 1/4 acre and it's all clay.
Well, no, you have sand too. You have sand and clay. So what you do is you use both of them, mix them together. They're both opposites of each other. So what you would do is you'd go collect like a 5-gallon bucket of sand and put it over by the bed. And then you go get your 5-gallon bucket or a wheelbarrow full of clay. And then you probably in the wheelbarrow would be best to mix it with sand until it gets to the right consistency and then throw it in there.
I can make my own dirt?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
But so raised beds is one. What was the other?
What I just did yesterday, and that's to do a hugel mound. If you can at least dig into the soil and do at least a shallow pit, you can sink, and you have, well, I guess it matters if you have wood laying around. You could collect sticks, whatever. It doesn't have to be, the bigger the chunks, the better on the bottom. But if you don't have the big chunks, I've done all my raised beds with just branches. I'd pick up branches in the spring and fill them in the bottom of my raised bed. Just make my own frame, throw the branches in the bottom, and then throw soil over top. And they still act as a mini hugelkultur. But if you've got bigger chunks, they just work so much better and they last longer. And the whole point of it is for one, it'll break down and it'll enrich the soil. It's adding organic material to the soil. And when you do that to clay, it makes it so the roots can grow a lot better because it's not so thick and not so compact. But then they also act as sponge and hold water. So in that water, if it, as the water drains down through the soil above, it'll sit in that wood, and that wood will absorb it like a sponge. And then when it's really dry up top, that water can be wicked back up towards the top for those plants. And the thing is these hugo mounds are so, depending on a lot of factors, I guess, but they're usually only good for about 3-4 years before that mound that you're left with on the top just starts working its way back down as that wood decomposes. And then as the wood is all the way decomposed, you're still better off than what you started with, but you're not anywhere near as good as you were those 3-4 years of growing as it was working and breaking down.
My first thought was definitely the raised beds. You know what I mean? You certainly make a good point, Emily, about like the fact that if you the reason you're doing this is because you can't afford to buy food, so you're trying to grow your own food. But if you don't have a good starting media, like where do you even go from there, right? So I understand that, and this isn't going to be a cheaper alternative. And I'm kind of waiting for him to chime in the chat. But Superior Buds is up there on Nothing But Sand in the UP, and his he's kind of doing a twofold attack on his sandy backyard. Part of that is to reduce erosion because he is literally right on the lake, one of the Great Lakes, and doesn't want to lose his front / backyard / house / deck / any of that of his property into the lake and just be swallowed to never get back. But the other part is because he wants to grow more like crops and stuff. He wants to be able to plant things, and it's very hard to do. So he's been bringing in a bunch of different bushes, plants, grasses, especially these like really deep rooting grasses to hold the soil, but also building this like layer of there you go. Every plant has a use. I'm not sure what the word is or how to describe this, but I think he's also planting like a layer on top that's going to start building soil, like actual soil on top of this sand, right? And in combination with things like everything from his chicken coop, you know what I mean? All that, that's going to help build that. There you go, permaculture. He's basically just permaculturing his sandy backyard into soil. It's going to obviously take some time, but I think that's kind of cool to see happen. I don't know how you do that with clay. I think you got to have some probably strong rooted.
Well, you can do things. Plants. Yeah, well, you do things like daikon radish. You can plant those. You can use plants to work for you too, right? So it's still just adding organic material, but doing it in a different way. So you can plant daikon radish. It's going to go down into that soil and it's going to balloon out into this big giant radish. And then you just chop the top and maybe eat the greens, but let the radish stay in the soil and decompose. Now you're going to create a cavity in there, and it's got organic material in there. It's going to decompose, and that's going to help decompact your soil too. So that's the key, just like what you're explaining with what Superior is doing with trying to help his soil from eroding by using the plants with the deep roots to hold everything together. You can use a plant like a radish to
bust it up.
Bust it right back up.
What's up, Red Center? How we doing tonight, man? Thanks for joining.
Good, man. Yeah, I was listening to you guys. We have hella clay here. So all the topsoil was scraped away when they turned it into a subdivision.
So that's where my mind was thinking with like a small property, something like that, where they put sod on top. Like you dig down, what is that? What do you do if you can't? Well, obviously we know it. One of the options is chip chop, right?
I mean, it's base rock for construction is what you get in a small property. If you got 5,000 to 10,000 square feet, you're working with 21A and the shit that they were bringing into. I mean, you might have some of the shit that they dug you out if you had a basement, but it's been like worked. You know what I mean? It's been heavily worked. In a lot of cases, if it's an old farm field, an old farm field might have had topsoil on it, might have been composted, might have been rich, but that had all been scraped, and sold as topsoil. And then you're left with, I mean, basically down to the clay. And then beneath the clay, we do have sand, but we have a couple of feet of clay. It's pretty, like, I mean, you get it wet, I mean, you can mold shit out of it. It's real clay. It turns to cement. The problem with clay, and we talked a little in the last episode, it's been a couple weeks, but we talked about the problem with tilling. And I made a comment about it being like one of the more important things, aside from, the breaking up of the life and all of that. One of the more important is bringing up old seed, but it failed to dawn on me about the fact that when you do that with clay specifically, you don't just bring up the old seed, ancient weed seed, and make things worse as far as weeds go, but you actually cause compaction to get worse, specifically with clay. When you break it up and then it rains and then it like reconcretes, What I do is we have heavy clay in our garden, and I have planted into it in the first season, a heavy mulch layer of something. In the case of like a no-till garden on clay, or using like just a lawn, and if you look, where's this corner right here? See a little bit of patch of grass. Let's just say that's grass lawn, right? See a little bit of lawn, right? Can you see my finger? Probably not. Okay, anyways, yeah, there's a little bit of lawn over here. There's some lawn over here. See that lawn? All right. Look back over here. See where my finger is? That's a bag. That's a leaf bag. You could use one of those, but I'm gonna suggest just cardboard. Yeah. You can take it off of me now. All right. So just lay some cardboard, and just kind of like mulch it. Give it a lot of like grass clippings and leaves and stuff, and it'll eventually just kind of break down. But one specific thing I do is I don't till, but I use a device called a broad fork, and they're like 12-inch long, really sharp knives, tines that are on this like almost it's a two-handled pitchfork looking thing with really crazy looking broad fork is what it's called. Yeah, there's one right there at Trade Light. Yeah, there you go. There's a picture of them if you're visualizing. It's not designed to turn over the soil or flip the soil or do anything crazy, break it up. It's designed to open it up. So you stick that thing in the ground and you rock it back and forth. You can kind of give it a little lift if you really need to. If you do have some stubborn areas and you really want to like turn over your sod or something like that, that thing works great to help as a sod cutter. You shake out your sod and then you can cut into it. Flip it really easy with that thing. It's a great tool. It's a hand tool. You know what I mean? We're talking small spaces that you don't get tillage equipment into. It's the fraction of the price of a rototiller. It's going to do a very similar aspect, but it's not going to turn over your saw. It's not going to turn anything over. It's not going to flip. It's not a furrow maker or anything like that. It just strictly breaks shit open. It expands it's to break up compaction, and it works great on clay soil. So you just rock that sucker back and forth in your bed. What I like to do is I like to put my whatever it is amendments down. If it's put some compost down or some whatever. You got rock dust. You got generally if it's in the ground, clay. You don't need rock dust and shit like that. But anyways, you got maybe some kelp or some whatever. You got rock that stuff in.
Potash.
Potash. Let it rock into that clay.
Gypsum.
You rock it into the clay. You know what I mean? And even if it's like some wood chips or something, you might bind up a little bit of nitrogen here and there with some shit getting in there. But you know what? You're going to get organic matter in there, and it's going to break up that clay more importantly. And over time, that nitrogen will come back. If you plant a nitrogen fixing cover crop or something, importantly, I see Superior Buds in there talking about his all those cover crops and everything, but like a living mulch, lots of plants and break them things down. Just chop and drop. It sucks as like something if you're trying to like keep a manicured looking space, you're trying to like use a cedar, you know, if you're like trying to make it like row gardens, like seed, you can't seed into it, you know what I mean? You really gotta, it's thickly mulched, but what it's gonna do is it's gonna help your soil. And over time, you'll have your soil get more pithy and fluffy. And
Oh, hey, about cedar. Who would I look at to dispose of 2 cedar trees that uprooted in that storm that we had not too long ago? Like, there gotta be people out there who want to buy cedar, right?
yeah, I mean, your local arborist might buy it, but
Just look at a local arborist, because like the people I've been calling are like tree cutter people, and they're like, "Oh, we don't work with softwood." So I didn't know if there was somebody who I was, because I thought cedar could be used in like making stuff, can't it?
Furniture,
Yeah.
like cedar chests.
And siding, cedar shake, stuff like that.
I mean, it's great for outdoor furniture and stuff. Well,
Maybe I
Teak
just
is
haven't called
really
it in
good
that
for outdoor
place.
furniture, but
You find a furniture, somebody who's who
Yeah, I need a
a
personal
maker.
furniturist. That's probably what they're called.
Well, hold on. What
Probably
what
not.
about the wow, that's the wrong religion.
Let's talk this out. I like it. Let's solve this
The
problem.
Amish. What about the Amish? What do they use? Is it all hardwoods?
Can I just Google the Amish? Can I call them? Do they have? I'm not to be rude.
Sure. I mean, I don't know if they're going to answer, but they.
Amish.
well, cedar specifically has antimicrobial properties and is great for outdoor use. It decays much slower than even hardwoods do. So, I mean, depending on your application, you know, a cedar has a lot of good uses.
I mean, I would
Yeah,
just
you
like
should make a
use.
sauna. Build a sauna, and you guys.
Yeah, like they're
somewhere.
really good for holding moisture and stuff because they don't get moldy, you know. They also don't like break down. They're good for your gardens.
Yeah, that's what they make those wood chips for too, for like the people that want to have fancy flower beds to keep the bugs away. That cedar, there's something in the oil, there's something in the wood.
It's the best.
Buy yourself a mulcher.
Yeah,
Got a cheap one from Harbor Freight, but I ain't gonna chop up no tree. I tell you that.
I think that's what mothballs are made out of.
Well, cedar chest. I think
Yep,
cedar chest,
cedar blocks.
or you can get a cedar block or something to put in a wardrobe to
Yeah, same use.
ward off like moths and stuff.
And evil spirits.
Mothballs.
Yes.
Why not? Whatever we can do to keep them away. Shit's...
Absolutely. IPM for the spirits.
You brought up a cardboard, and I know someone made a comment about it, but I was trying to be resourceful. And you know, when I use dry ice, I get 50-pound boxes of dry ice in cardboard. You know, a cardboard box, and these cardboard boxes just get broken down and stacked up. And so far this year, I probably had close to 50 of them already. So today I decided to break those boxes down and start lining my garden in areas that had grass coming through the mulch, you know, kind of on the edges and stuff. And then in other places that it would just be held down in case it got really windy, like under my irrigation lines that I ran. So I just, you know, put them under there. But, you know, I really thought like 50, I don't know, 14, 16 by 16 square, whatever, cardboard boxes. Yeah, man, I thought that would like cover like half that, you know, whatever it is, however many 1,000 square foot garden it is. It's like 2% of it. It's like nothing, man. And fortunately, that's only like half of the boxes I have saved because I have a ton from last year just sitting there and it's a pile somewhere else. But okay, I guess I gotta blast more or something. This is crazy.
Yeah.
No, like once you start overlapping stuff, you really lose all your square footage. I just use some cardboard boxes to temporarily cover a spot where we sowed carrots and try to keep them moist and try to do that. We got all kinds of shit. So, has it been 2 weeks since we had a show? It's been.
Yeah. It has been, yeah.
We had Hash Bash Cup. And last week I helped out. I'm supporting Fagroli's shirt still. I'm still rocking Team Fagroli over here.
There you go.
I'll show you the
It's
back
an
while
old
we're at it.
throwback shirt though.
Oh, is it the full list? This is so sick. Yeah, that looks cool as hell,
That's
man.
cool.
I
You just need to add the square check boxes next to each one so people can magic marker a checkbox after they get each one.
That's pretty good.
like that idea.
Show up with a full free growly. It's like a punch card.
So say grab the flight. If you grab the flight, you did get them all.
There you go. There you
I have
go.
a whole
Sick.
Tell them
bunch of
tell-
check
you
marks.
gotta have a magic marker at the booth, and when they buy, mark their shirt for them.
I know people have come up to you, asked for autographs. So I was gonna say that's one way to do it.
There you go. I use a board for carrots. Yeah, I've heard that too. Just to use a straight board.
A big shout out to certainly Chuck and Red Setter. They both helped me hold down the table last weekend at the Hash Bash Cup. The reason we didn't have a show last week is because I fell asleep and was out for probably 10 and a half hours after that weekend, and then immediately had to drive a pretty long distance the next day. So I certainly needed it, and I was thankful for it. But I apologize to everyone here on the panel and everybody watching, because yeah, that was me. I was just. But yeah, the Hash Bash Cup was great, man. It was a lot of fun. We had a lot of support, a lot of help. We had a lot of flavors. Chuck, tell them about what you brought too, man. You had a lot of great flavors. Actually, I got some over here still.
Had the good old Yikes and Cream Royale and Peach Pudding and the FX3 crossed with the Giggle Gas.
And the breeders on most of those are
Exotic and Soulfire.
you guys
Pretty
know I
much
love
all
me
of
some
them.
exotic, and I know
So-
Red Setter does too.
Was that? I was
Yeah.
reading that. I'm sorry.
You like exotic genetics, right? They got some solid flavors. I mean, I know
Yeah, I
you've
got a
grown some of
handful
their
of
stuff.
genetics by them. Yeah.
Mhm.
I got a gang of them, so whenever you need something.
You pop it.
Yeah, strawberries
What's
and
that?
cream we've had forever.
I got the exotics cookies and cream. I need to pop it.
Oh, yeah. I know Red's got that red pop he needs to pack. Because I
I've
miss
got
mine.
yeah, I've got that strawberries and cream, and it's pretty much the same thing. That's the only reason I haven't really popped it yet. But I do have.
You
that
don't think? I thought Red Pop was more like candy than the
Red
strawberries
Pop?
and cream is.
Red Pop is a strawberries and cream phenotype. So Red Pop was one of the strawberry and cream one of the F1s that got.
Is it more like of that candy sweet though? Because the strawberries and cream to me is more like the Cobra Milkers or the raspberry parfait, where it's like kind of more of that creamy fruit, you know?
I don't know, but I'm imagining that getting into the Red Pop, I'm just gonna have more variation of the strawberries and cream. So
I definitely got like a red pop from the red pop, actually. So I just talked about that the other day. But I got so many seats, so it doesn't matter.
yeah, I got those.
Man, it's like, man, I don't have the
Vanilla Gorilla was really nice. So all those cookies and cream crosses are pretty nice, and then the Citrique that I've had forever is Lime Skunk and Orange Valley OG. Citrique is exotic genetics. I'm running that.
What was the what did we pop, Chuck? You gave me a 3-pack of seeds from Soulfire, right? What was that?
I think it's
Put you on the
Big
spot.
Juicy, but it was Cherrylicious crossed Last Supper, maybe.
Okay, so I 2 of those are above ground. I don't know what's going on with the third one, but I don't think it's going to show up for whatever reason. So we might just have the 2. But the one is nice and broad, stretching across pretty much an entire 1-gallon pot. I'm trying to think of what set of node it's on, maybe like second or third or something like that. The other one's a little bit behind it. Took some time getting out of the soil. That might have been my fault. But that, and I think I'm going to add these to the Pheno Hunt this year too, because why not?
Oh,
Oh,
oh yeah, dude. We had I got them saved. They're doing really well. About a dozen volunteers pop up a couple weeks ago.
Oh, I saw that photo. Let me try to find it. That was a great photo.
And they had we found them after, like, they were already sprouted at least a couple days up, and they had already survived a couple nights. I think the night before, the day I found them, the night was like 20 degrees that night, something like that, and then came out the next morning, and
Oh, shit.
they're just like champs, you know. It came off that plant, so there's still some flowers
Wow.
crispy, and I like, crushed a couple of them a few weeks ago, and that
Okay,
must
so
have
there's
been
that
one of them. Yeah, that was the mother that it came from. So the GDP was pollinated by the blue steel, and the combination is indigo rose. Shout out to my grandmother Rose, and blue steel is OG blueberry, and the cube, and the cube is a worked OG Kush Starfighter. The cube is Starfighter.
Mm-hmm.
F2 and Starfighter or something like that. But either way, it's OG Kush. Worked OG Kush lines, Starfighter. And so that's the Indigo Rose. Had some really nice volunteers pop up, and yeah, so I got 12 of those. And then I got to bring that. I thought I had it up here. Go grab it. But I'm about to go put some soil, and then maybe I'll do this while we're on the show. I'll grab some more Indigo Rose seeds here and put them in this thing that I'm going to show you guys here in a minute. Yeah, for Gurley, that sounds like an awesome hunt this summer.
Yeah, I can't just, I've been blessed by Chuck to have these seeds that he's not only am I, pheno hunting them, but he's also doing it with his tents full of seeds over there. But his pheno hunts are certainly larger than mine. But I'm like, I can't just do one, and I have been gifted a lot of seeds from friends over the years, and I might add one or two more into the mix, but I don't think I'm going to do them all at once. I'm going to take my time doing that, and I'm going to just do a rather lengthy, long, and choosy, picky, pheno hunt, and see what we come up with by the end of the year.
I will say, if you don't want to wait and sex on, good old Farmer Freeman's got a sale coming up on 420. Get you them sex tests.
Well, what's your discount code, Mr. Plug over there?
I don't have one, but I'm just saying that's who I use. I'm getting ready to buy
You better
some
get a
too.
plug. You might as well get yourself a code.
I should, but no, I'm getting ready to. I'm waiting for 420 myself because I got a gang of fucking reg seeds I want to pop, but I don't want to wait the weeks to figure out what's male and female.
So tell us about that, because people, people listening might not know even who that is, what you're talking about testing, and
there's another company here. I just can't remember the name too.
It's all right. Just talk about Farmer Freeman. It's all good.
It's just you can fucking take a little clipping off your third node, send it in.
You talking like a 1-inch piece of leaf, or like a full leaf, or what are we doing?
Probably just about a 1 inch, half inch, if that.
So real small.
Yeah, I mean or you could do like smash cards where you can kind of just smash the leaf into it where it's got leaf matter and send that in. So there's 2 different ways you can do it. They give you little stakes to go in each plant so you can keep them up, which one's which, and instead of waiting 10 plus 8 weeks, whatever, in a week or 2 after sprouting out of the dirt.
We use
so what's the turnaround on
that? Probably about a week or so. Probably about a week once you send it out, you'll have your results back in a week. You'll know when they get it, and then probably the next day you'll have your results.
And what's the normal cost, and what are you expecting to pay on 420 with the discount?
I think it's usually like $15, and then discount's going to be like $10 on 420, and probably if you buy a big bundle, probably cheaper or something like that,
So probably worth the cost of a transplant, either way you look at it. You know what I mean? So if it's going to save you going from a 1 gallon to 3 or 5, or a solo cup even to like a 1 or 2 gallon, it might even be worth the cost of the transplant. And by that I mean the 4 to 6 weeks or whatever it's going to take to get it into that next pot, raise it to, you're going to do that anyway, right. But you're going to be able to cut the ones you would have otherwise done that out ahead of time, like 4 or 6, 8 weeks ahead of time. And maybe you're looking for males. Maybe you just want to know which ones are males, which one's female. You know what I mean? And go for that. Like it's more information either way.
It works either way. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I know Bake uses Deep Roots. I think they're out.
Yeah.
Same people that do the tissue culture, and they do. I think they're out of Ann Arbor, if I remember right. but I don't know much more information.
I was gonna say, any idea if it's like similar pricing or turnaround? Or...
Yeah, I think it's similar pricing. Deep Roots LLC, maybe. Oh, that's on Instagram. Shout out to them. I'm surprised they're not watching now. They watch all their shows.
I'll have to check them out because I'd always rather go local,
Yeah, it's cool to be able to just drive. I mean, it might be a drive for you. I don't know, but you'll drop them off and just be done with it.
Right, I'd rather
that's
go.
Right there. Deep Roots Cultures. There you go.
Some different instructions there.
Cool. They're cool to follow anyway. They put all kinds of cool stuff on there. Like that. Shout out to them. They do all of ours, the Trichome Forge. We haven't found them to be wrong yet, so that's good.
You guys thinking about outdoor at all yet?
Outdoor vegetables, I've already been planting.
No, I mean like outdoor cannabis gardens.
No, I haven't thought about it.
Yeah.
I think our we just looked. Our predicted last freeze is like 3 weeks earlier this year than last year. I'm pretty sure.
I'll be out there planting in like 2 weeks. I think we'll be done after about 2 more weeks. No more freezes.
We did think about it. You're just high.
Yeah,
we're doing
the
the CBG plant that I got from Little Ebud.
What does that mean? Tell me more.
It's called CBG White, and he wrote 99.99% on it, and that's all I know. So I'm gonna learn more about it, but it's a plant that he uses in his anti-inflammatory lotion that he makes, and I use that stuff, pretty religiously, and so I'm pretty excited to see just what a CBG plant does.
We'll be able to test it too.
Exactly. And I've used straight CBG product from Winewood Organics. They have a CBG tincture that I've tried a handful of times. I've used it, and it works really great. I would say it helps a lot when it comes to, like, how you can tell when an edible is wearing off, you get the yawns,
Yeah.
It helps to kind of alleviate that specifically. I've realized, or that I've noticed for me when I take CBG with edibles, whether it's RSO or a heavy edible dosage, something like that. So I have been pretty interested in just trying straight flower from that. And I actually, I'm running CBD, just straight CBD RSO right now. And I've been using material from Living Euphoric. And I really appreciate working with her because she's been super, not just like friendly, but knowledgeable on her product, which is awesome to know like where it's coming from and what's in it. But I reached out to her recently. I had reached out to her a few months ago when I'd gone on when I was trying for a tea break, and I wanted to start switching to more CBD into my blend and stuff to work my way towards THC free. So I went back to her and got more CBD and CBG product of hers, so that I can make a CBD RSO and give that a go and try, like pause the psychoactive THC type side of stuff and let me see if I can get a really good dose of CBD. I'm not saying I'm still going to smoke and consume and stuff. But I don't mind trying, because like usually when I run RSO or we run RSO, we'll mix into with handfuls of the THC material, we'll mix in like a separate amount of CBD to it. So it is full spectrum. It is a full blend. But I just want to know what CBD would do, if I were to take whatever dosage of just that and know what those cannabinoids are. Because I want to get it tested as well. Usually for the RSO, I just go based off of what it typically is. And so like he's gotten it tested a handful of times and it's always hit that range. So, I'm making it the same way. I base it off of that same range for what a gram is. So I'm really wanting to get, once I have the material processed and mixed up and ran through, see if I can get that tested and figure out what that CBD percentage or CBG percentage is, because I was able to ask her, hey, do you have any test results from these? I really am looking for just the lowest THC possible. And she sent me the test results that she had from each strain that she sent me. So I have like 5 different test results to start with, at least.
Can you pull them up by chance, or are you able to share them at the moment?
They're actually like physical copies that
Okay.
I would not be able to locate currently.
Not a problem. Not a problem. I have a lot to say about this, because I think CBG is my favorite, I'll call it secondary cannabinoid. You know what? Before I dive into this, I want to pose this question to everybody. Let's put the terps aside for a moment, and I want to ask you all a question. Sans terps, what is the difference between a Fageroli extract and everything else?
I feel safer knowing where it comes from. Like, I feel
That's
more
fair.
trustworthy.
The quality.
Okay, I'm looking more. Let's talk effects. Do you guys have any comments on effects compared to other dabs you
I
guys
tend to
take?
lean more towards the sativa side of things, or the classical sativa side of things, for sure.
Right, and a lot of the strains I grow tend to be kind of in the haze category or somewhere down that line.
Yeah.
What also is very consistent among the strains I grow is they tend to be higher, not high, not extremely high or anything, but higher in CBG. And I've done a lot of testing on the flower and the extracts, and many of my extracts are coming out at over 3% CBG, whether it's CBGA, CBG, or the combination, because just like THCA, it has an acid, right? And you have to activate it, but it's not going to make you, it doesn't have a psychoactive effect. It is great as like an antimicrobial, antibacterial, maybe both. It's great in, having those positive kind of uplifting effects and working well with that terpene profile for sure. But yeah, there you go. GI issues. It's definitely has a pretty high medicinal value.
I'm interested in that specifically, actually, because I didn't know that. But that has, because I have taken the Winewood CBG tincture, and I haven't noticed any like relief or anything with my specific GI issues. So I'm wondering if I can take, say, like a stronger, more potent, like an RSO version of it, if I would get relief in a way. So I'm pretty interested in that.
One comment and then one, I guess, question. I know that some people will say that, you can get a higher CBG return or value if you harvest earlier. So that might be something worth looking into. Now, I pretty much across the board harvest at 9 weeks. Maybe Clementine needs to go 11. It doesn't, but if that's your perspective and it has less CBG, well then, yeah, that's your, kind of the assumption you're going to come up with when it comes to this. But even at 9 weeks, that's kind of the returns we're getting is in that range. The question I have though is CBD. You talked about adding to the RSO and doing testing. What is your kind of ideal range you're looking for CBD when you were doing that? And then what is your kind of ideal range that maybe you don't know yet, but that you're going for percentage wise in adding the CBG? Like, are we trying to add the 1% or 5% or 50%?
When I've been adding the CBD to the THC material, it's literally like a handful. It's just to basically be like, all right, cool, that's full spectrum. It's not, it has not ever been to be like, okay, this is specifically to add CBD value. I don't think I've ever tried to put that intent before into it. It's just been, all right, this is CBD separate. So I'm going to take that and just put it in there so that I know this is CBD or that this is full spectrum.
And you're focused on just CBG or CBD when really that addition isn't just for the CBD. It's for all those other major cannabinoids that are more common in the CBG dominant plants as well, that you're not picking up as easily in the THC dominant plants. So you're just casting that net even wider. So it's not so much of like I want to put it's not an extract where we're extracting just CBD and we can add it and we can add this percentage into it. It's more like, no, we know this is something we don't have in there yet, and we're adding this into our.
I kept out some nugs of the actual strains that she had sent, but I don't have the test results offhand.
I've worked with some CBD heavy plants, that were like, I think Canatonic was one of them. Rare Dankness, I bred or Pheno hunted one from them. That was, that was the goal, was to be a high CBD plant. I think it was a Harlequin offshoot or something. Oh yeah, okay.
So that's Blue Meringue. And I haven't tried to smoke any of it yet either.
Can you hold that back up real quick just by holding the bottom stem and just holding it directly north and south or vertical, if you will? Does everyone see the size, the lack of, if you will, and this isn't, I'm not knocking it, but the like lack of density, if you will, in comparison to like a common commercial nug, but the size of it, and also but also the shape of it. It's like it's a spear. You know what I mean? Those are all to me indicators of a quote unquote haze, type leaning strain.
I think they're a lot like that. So this is Legendary Platinum OG. And then one thing that she did say with what she runs is that she does she runs it or has it tested a little early as well from when it is harvested. This one is Platinum Panther. So I'm not sure if you're able to just look up test results, like typical what are they called when there's more than one? Average test results for those. Wait, there's one more. Sorry. Oh, and then this is the last one. This one is called Bear Claw.
See, that's definitely squattier, like a little bit more internodal spacing. You can see already off the like third or fourth one down. Looks a little bit denser to me too. That one looks different from most of the rest of them, in my opinion. But
I tried to pull similar size nugs from everything when I was mixing it all, because what I did was take everything separate that I had gotten and then mix it all into just one bag the same and shake it up real good so that when I do pull from that, it's going to be a nice blend of all of those. But so far, I have only ran a little bit of it, and then
okay,
so I have even less of it now.
That Platinum Panther I just looked up. If it is indeed from Holy City Farms, it says it's a 23-to-1 CBD to THC ratio.
Nice.
Okay, so that's
CBD
23 CBD to 1 THC.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. So that'd be like, yeah, that's crazy. So it'd be like the inverse of what we normally see, like 23% THC to 1% CBD kind of thing. It's the inverse. It's 23% CBD.
I feel like I know. I'm gonna look for the test results. I'm gonna look.
Oh no, what have I done? I'm sorry. Sent her on a wild goose hunt.
But we also have some other CBD.
Oh, I have them right here. I didn't know where they were.
Boom.
Wow, I feel so proud of myself. Nice work, Emily.
That was fast, very fast. Congratulations.
All right, so
I'm
this is, let's see. Here we go. That's just a lot of numbers that I don't know what I'm exactly looking for right away.
Acacia Labs, Pink Panther, certificate of analysis. Total THC is 0.13%. Total CBD is 2.78%. Total cannabinoids is 3.43%. And then I have those all broken up down to mostly CBDA at 3.1%, CBGA at looks like 1.143%, and then not detected on most of the other ones. THCA 1.484. So it has almost the same amount of CBG as it has THC, and then the rest CBD. On
what was the percentage on CBG again?
CBG is 1.14, 1.143.
Okay.
This is a whole different weird looking one. I can't read that. Is so tiny.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
I'm not gonna be able to read that one. Then this one says, okay, this one is for the Flower Legendary Platinum OG, and that came in at. This has got a lot of Oh wait, no. This has got, here we go. CBD, it's got 1.7%. CBDA is 42.73%. Jesus.
That's the platinum. Yeah.
Yeah, the platinum. CBG is CBGA 2.655%, and THCA is 2.1%. Total cannabinoids 4.9. Total CBD 3. How does it say total CBD percent here? It says 3.9%, but when I look down here, CBD. Oh, it's because it's looking at CBD and not CBDA.
Okay.
It says CBDA at 42.737% and CBD 1.7%. Total CBD 3.9. How does that figure?
I was wondering why the CBD was so low. Okay, that's hella CBD. Sounds like a lot. It's just not decarboxylated.
Yeah, that is kind of the activated, I guess.
This one is called Mad Dog, and this one is it says CBDA 2.0. Oh wait, hold on. Percent 0.21%. CBGA 2.91%, and then CBG is 0.16%, and everything else is non-detectable.
Blue Meringue claims 33% CBDA.
Blue Meringue.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's
So I got test results and stuff with it. She was awesome to work with, and I mean, I just yeah, I'm stoked to see what type of meds I can create with that.
Shout out to Living Euphoria Farms.
Living Euphoric.
Living Euphoric Farms.
There you go. Well, I hope it's a solid percentage points in the CBG category, because I do think there's something there. It certainly works for me. I did find a clementine live resin concentrate test result. I mean, look at that, none detected across the board until it comes to CBGA. And when you combine that with the CBG, and we're looking at like almost 4% there, 3.8 something like that percent.
We make we make a tincture. This is a CBG isolate in my hand. We make a tincture that we have. Well, we can do either CBG or whatever. But we have a CBD CBG, and we have a CBD CBG and RSO one.
Hold on, I got another one for you guys. That's fun to look back at these things and realize, now that you know a little bit more about them, probably why you like them, and just seeing repeatability like this, because this is lime skunk, everybody.
Oh wow.
CBG 4.75%.
Yeah,
I've
5.5%.
heard that CBG works well for focus and stuff. So ADHD, typical, you're gonna need. And I myself have, noticed similar effect from it. I do definitely can say that much.
Tara's
I like to be.
I haven't seen that piece before, Tara. Oh,
it's a mic.
I just got this little chugger.
That's nice. Oh, I like
the little tuck in. Oh, that's cute as heck.
Put my little fingy in there.
That's cute.
Perfect.
Cool.
I like that topper too. Is that a new one as well? Or
no, it's old. That's old. It's even got a chip out of it, so it's an old one. But yeah, I just picked this up when I busted my other one at the Shoreline Smokeout.
What the hell?
Elbow.
Oh.
Right off the table.
I'm gonna take someone down with those. Isn't that the people's elbow?
I told you to stop dabbing in the mosh pit, Tara.
I know. I gotta stop that, but you gotta get your dabs in where you can. Cheers, everybody.
Nice shirt, Tara.
Thank you. Still sporting the Fergoli myself.
Nice wardrobe. We have a whole bunch of seeds. Emily, if you want to run any stuff that's crossed with our green room, let me know, because we have like 10 different varieties of CBD.
Yeah, I actually have ran. Yours was one of the first CBD plants that I ever ran. Was the green room to green room.
They're not. There's no COAs behind any of them, but the female was a high CBD, 20% CBD. The male behind it was 20% CBD.
When I ran that, I wasn't getting anything tested, but I was interested in running it, and I smoked it. just dried it and smoked it out like a regular plant. And at the time I was growing, just in a tent. And it was my biggest yielder out of the 4 that I had in the tent. So I thought that was fantastic.
Do those.
I cut it into a lot of strains that I had, and I made those last longer because it didn't seem to have its own flavor, but also everything that I kind of dried was a bit on the hay side. So I'm not equating that to you, just the drier.
Green room's like super basic, like pine, it's like pine, floral pine, super basic. Yeah, it's like, weed you could just.
Yeah, I really just started cutting it with everything and made everything last a little bit longer.
Yeah,
it was nice. It didn't take away from anything. So
very herbal flavor.
And I will say, they say like CBD, smoking it or consuming it should take down the high, but I wouldn't say that. I would say perhaps maybe it seems like it cuts down the high because you don't shoot right off per se, because I've done like a dab of CBD isolate with dabbage, and it's not so much like, whoa, I got to catch my breath, I got to catch my brain. It's more like I can feel everything as it goes through. So I don't know.
So we're in that territory right now. Like if you basically combine this conversation of kind of what you're talking about, Emily, and what Fragoli's talking about on that like CBG making you feel like sativa, and you're saying like CBD gives you like an effect, and I've been saying for years, and kind of one of the reasons that I did that CBD project, because I ran it to the Flow, and I ran it to like Citrique, and I ran it to a couple things. I wish I ran it to like Durban Margie that I have now, and that might have to be a future project. But like my plan was to, like, in my thoughts, bring back granddad's weed, right? Like there's that theory that like the weed of today isn't as potent, or is more potent than the weed of like the grandpas
right
smoked. But working in the industry, I hear the complete opposite. I hear these older cats saying, dude, your weed today sucks. It doesn't smoke, or it doesn't get me high. So that leads me to believe that the people that don't smoke are reading COAs, coming to a conclusion because the COA says the THC percentage is higher. So quantitatively, yes, the weed is more potent according to THC, but the old heads are telling us that the weed is not more potent. So you can quantify subjective effects based on their subjective effects to say that the higher THC doesn't equate to more effects. It equates to higher THC. Where's the effects? Well, what did they take away from the plant to get higher THC? My thoughts is we had a far more full spectrum back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. You know what I mean? My thought is before we started breeding for the quantifiable THC, like when did we start having mass spectrum analysis? I don't know, in the 60s or something like that, but like it was super expensive. So when were like heads able to do it? When were growers able to do it? Maybe in the 80s, maybe a little bit more in the 90s. Maybe they were breeding for flavor and to not get caught. Maybe some of it had to do with smell, but maybe some of it was just visually looking at the plant saying this is more frosty, and you don't even need a COA.
You know what?
So
you know
we
what, Red?
selectively bred more THC and just completely got rid of CBD and CBG without even knowing it. just going for like bigger, maybe different trichomes, or chasing that COA of a 40% strain.
That's more in the last 10, 15 years, I think.
In the last 10, 15 years with COAs, we've been selectively breeding for the 40%,
well,
right?
Yeah, and the marketing, right? Because that's all they know how to market is THC. No one else knows what the
all the old heads are like,
it's a clusterfuck of
right.
lack of education, lack of science, lack of, yeah, you're right though. I mean, it's not just THC that gives you the effect. There's a lot of other cannabinoids. We're finding them, I think, still like practically monthly, aren't we? I'm looking at samples still, and I'm looking at THCV and things that like didn't come about right away. And what else is on here? CBD, CBDV, CBN, CBC, CBGA, CBGs, THCVA. It's like Delta 8, Delta 9, THCA. There's so many things that we've been testing for so long. But how many of those do you really hear about regularly?
You hear three of
One.
two or three of them
all the time. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking for 'em.
We do. Okay, I it's the rhetorical whatever question to the audience, right? Like, and if you walk into a dispensary and what are they talking about? You might see like a little pamphlet about terpenes on the wall that's very colorful and has orange fruity limonene. And
I was in the Social Security office recently for like a disability appointment, and they had a whole display of CBD products for pain relief, and it also had a CBG section for pain relief. So
okay.
they that's a state place even supporting that, which I thought was fucking cool to begin with.
Yeah, that's surprising to hear, if I'm honest.
Way out for that anti-inflammation stuff. But I was gonna say, like, honestly, I've always been more THC over terps. Like, cool flavor, but fuck terps. I want to feel high, but I feel like overall it's not even THC. It's full spectrum. I don't care if the THC is 20% or 12% or 40% or whatever we can get to now. I feel like I want something that does have a few of those boxes in it, though. That would be what I'm looking for. And
more medicinal, probably.
Yeah.
I wish they'd get rid of the numbers altogether. I hate the percentages. It drives me crazy.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they came to the conclusion that it's THC that specifically. I think it's because THC is the CB1 agonist, so it's the main cause
psychoactive
for like serotonin and dopamine is what my thought is, and I think I'm pretty sure that is it Dr. Mashulab? What is his name? Raphael Mashulab?
I don't know.
His father he basically discovered THC. He isolated THC and CBD first. He'd done most of this research. This was done back in like the 1960s. And because they isolated it way back then, Caveman makes a good point that it's THC's the most abundant in the plant, and I mean, depending on the varietal, I mean, hemp, it's not the most abundant in hemp, but when you get into the, like the, I guess, psychoactive varietals, but man, psychoactive is just such a broad spectrum of a term, like caffeine and coffee is psychoactive. I mean, garlic, if you eat like 3 cloves of raw garlic, on a sunny day, it's psychoactive. I mean, nutmeg, there's spices, cinnamon, all those things trigger MEO and dopamine and serotonin receptors. I mean, so many things are psychoactive. I think that what cannabis has is this just plethora of compounds in it. And I think that, because THC and CBD might have been maybe a couple of the first discovered, and because they are the most abundant in the plant was why they were discovered first, because we have all this research from, 60s and the 70s that is basically telling the tale of the plant that our legislators are going off on, saying, oh, it's because of THC, it's because of this. But like today, they're finding new cannabinoids today. You know what I mean? Like we haven't even like broken down the entire cannabis genealogy. Like we haven't even gotten there yet. Like they're still finding cannabinoids. So like
everybody guess. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I really want everybody to
know what is even in the plant and what's causing the psychoactivity. Is like we don't even know what's in the plant yet.
Okay, I've got a question though. Okay, so like if it causes a diminish in like psychoactivity, then that makes it non-psychoactive, because CBD, I was just gonna say, when I smoke CBD, I definitely feel something different in my head. I don't feel high necessarily like I do when I've smoked normal, but
THC.
Yeah, but I do feel a difference in my head, and I'm wondering if that is just like it becoming non-psychoactive.
That would be still non-psychoactive because it's giving you that effect of non-psychoactivity.
Even if it's affecting the psychoactive part?
Yeah, that's what I would say. Just my opinion. Cheers.
Cheers.
I think it's again that broad spectrum of psychoactivity. You know, it's part of that broad spectrum of psychoactivity. I don't think it is a brake pedal. It's probably a brake pedal on the agonist of THC as far as like anxiety and a lot of stuff like that goes. But
I'm thinking that there's something.
I still think it's
more
open in your perception.
The beta caryophyllene, the one that's a CV or that's a CV1 and a CV2. I think I can't wait for that to just be explored, because I think there's something in regards to those receptors.
Yeah, how it's a terpene, but it also
Yeah.
acts on the CB2 receptor, I think it is. Just like
Well, it does both receptors.
does it do both?
Yeah, it does CB1 and CB2, and it's a terpene and a cannabinoid.
I know it's a terpene and cannabinoid. And I thought it worked on the same receptor as CBD, but didn't realize that it did both.
I don't know if it works on the CB1. CBN does work on both. It may work on the CB1, but I feel like it would be more, again, like psychoactive if it did. If it worked on the CB1, I feel like it would be more like dopamine. And
Maybe I just assumed that because it worked to like a terpene and a cannabinoid.
Everything's dose dependent, and I mean, maybe we just need to eat like 10 grams of black peppercorn to get there. You know what I mean? And
Sign me
Well,
up.
that's actually kind of the case with CBD when you compare CBD to just THC.
yeah,
You look at a lot of these studies that are showing like, oh, you got these, especially when I was looking at the anti-inflammation stuff. You look at the doses that they take of the CBD, it's outrageous. It's in the thousands of milligrams. I've seen studies.
yeah.
It's like, wow.
It's a 10x from THC.
And that's
So, like what you're saying,
like,
maybe
I've
it
taken
takes-
a dab of something and I've been like, oh shit, I definitely can feel something in my brain slowing down or lining up in some way. But that's been like a dab of it where it's literally a slam to the face kind of a intake, a consumption. So I'm really hoping that a RSO concentrate, like a potency wise, will have a similar, because I think that's correct. CBD just has to be so high percentage wise or amount you consume wise in order to get the effect.
It seems that way.
We're gonna give it a shot.
For science.
For science.
Guess that's all you can do is try it, huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna take a dab of this cream royale for science.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing too.
Oh, you're doing Cream Royale. You didn't hold it up with the other Power Rangers.
Yeah,
Sorry, I did first earlier.
With your dabs combined.
I wish I could
Now
smoke
it's
out
my
of this.
turn, though. I want one of those.
Yeah,
I want one of those, but I don't got any of that. I've got Dirty Taxi. Haha.
Oh, that's the Dirty Taxi. I think I've already said it, but that's disgusting terps.
I'm going to enjoy it thoroughly because that's what we have to dab.
I love it.
I like the high. The high's good.
I want to dab. Becca, is the baby asleep?
But I got some other terps to share with you guys in a second here.
Before we keep going, I want to shout out Big Jar Grows for this really cool device that I have here. Let me check this thing out. This is a seed starting chamber. That's right. So check this really cool thing. And so we got the lid here. And then, oh, look at that. Red and black, just like Red Sutter Farm colors. Isn't that pretty sweet? And how convenient. We have this thing all filled up with some living soil mix ready to go and grow. And these what's really cool about this seed starting thing is not only its quality, but each one of these comes out. So I could, in theory, plant a whole bunch of different ones and maybe write on it what it is. And I don't want to tilt it too much because I did plant these, but look at that little drainage thing right there. Stick my finger in there. That's an insert that pops right out.
Cool.
So you can pop it up and pop the whole cube right out to plant it. And he even included these little plant stakes. So toss a little plant stake in there and it'll hold up the seedlings, right? So he threw a handful of those in there. So shout out to Big Jar Grows. He's got some of this stuff going on. I'm gonna tag him on Instagram. I'm gonna wait for these suckers to sprout to get a nice, Instagram worthy photograph, and then
I'm gonna have to message him.
Post this up there because I like it. It's on brand, which is fucking sweet. And just sitting here with you guys, I went ahead and I tossed in a little stash of what I have some indigo rose seeds myself. And so I have the volunteer going, and now I have these guys going. And you guys hit us up for some indigo rose seeds. I'll happily toss in some freebies of that CBD, of some of those CBD lines that we have. The indigo rose are F1s, and we're doing a little farm fundraising at the sales of those seeds. So I'll happily toss in some freebies, some CBD stuff, since we're having it in the conversation, and it's always in the mix, really. Actually, the last couple packs of indigo rose, I think I threw some sunflower seeds. Might have thrown some dill seeds at somebody, something like that. We got all kinds of shit. Marigolds popped in a day. Becca planted these marigolds, and they were sprouted up the next. I was like, how fucking? I've never seen a seed sprout so fast, dude.
I always like to have marigolds in my garden. It keeps it away. I did get some flour from Big Jar yesterday. I was lucky enough to sesh with him and Skilbo and Chuck yesterday, and I got some 9 Alarm, sparkling lime, and Bicket, and this, the Bicket. I can't wait to try that. That's one of my favorites. And then I got some plants from him a couple weeks ago too, so I've gotten all kinds of good stuff from him. Super appreciate it. And I got a pack of seeds.
Anyway, I'm gonna shout out Becca though, because Becca gave me some basil from Rosemary's Oasis, and that basil was the only thing that popped out of the other basils that I tried was Becca. So shout out Becca.
Oh, dude, hell yeah! Was it the lemon basil? Do you know?
It had green on it, I think.
Green? Okay, it might have been a Genovese basil or something, but that's super awesome. Yeah, very cool to hear. We sowed some of our lemon basil that we popped out and have a nice tray of lemon basil going. So I'll have to make sure that you get some of that. Anything grows just for the shout out.
Yeah, appreciate that, man.
And just real quick, Asno Grows in chat, where you would go to obtain said seeds, asking me if you hit me up on Instagram at Red Setter Farm, or you can email me at redsetterfarm@gmail.com, and we can discuss everything about them there. And I think that was it as far as the chat.
Chuck, you got that rosin handy? Did you see my comments in the chat there, man? Your cream rails got me lit.
Yeah, what am I looking for?
You know that rosin that our friend let us try a couple times and then gave it a little jar of?
Yeah. I got some of that. It's I got to put away.
Grab it out. Because I want to. Yeah. Because
I got to smell some Piatella today, if I'm saying that right. And it smelled so freaking phenomenal. I want some of that.
So yeah, we got I love, you guys know how I love rosin. I'm gonna shout all the good rosin out here. So
beautiful.
He's got in his hands, what's the strain? Do you remember?
I want Death Coast.
If it is in fact Death Coast, that was the best rosin out of the 3 that he showed us. But that's from Pelle Polaire. So that's some Pelle Polaire rosin. And then right here, I've got some Jungle Breath from Pedro.
Oh, nice.
And, both fire. Both absolutely fire extracts. And that Death Coast, man, that one surprised me too.
Very tasty.
Yeah, just like the Trop Cherry, I think it was one of the first ones I ever tried from Pedro. It was like, okay, no, rosin can be done. Like, rosin can be done right. You know what I mean? Like, this is fucking fire. I've been ruined now. Shout out to those 2 guys. Some fire ass concentrates, boys.
Shout out to Dankman Dan in chat.
Cheers, Dan.
Oh, what's up, Dan? How you doing, man?
I'm gonna see him soon. I'm taking a run up to him. I gotta take a freezer full up to him. GG4 and GMO.
Oh, there you go.
Speaking of rosin right there, Dank Van Dan is a killer rosin
Phenomenal.
as well.
My favorite. I can't wait.
And
I can't see chat. I'm using my phone. Darn it.
It's okay, Tara. Chat sees you.
Oh,
well, in that case, Tara, Dank Van Dan says, to you, we can make some, Tara. So sounds like
oh yeah.
there it is right there for you, Tara. We'll be sure to highlight any questions coming your way for you, Tara.
Thanks, guys. I'm always, the the slacker over here.
All right, everybody tag Tara with your questions, and I will make sure to highlight them for everyone to see.
Now they're gonna hit me with all these questions.
Oh.
You guys
guys
want to know
making
something
any-
really exciting that's not in the cannabis field?
Well, kind of is.
I mean, I guess it could be.
It's cannabis adjacent.
It is. It's cannabis adjacent. Tomorrow, I get to go and meet with a lender about getting a mortgage to buy a house.
Oh, that's super
Awesome.
cool.
That's
Hey, I'm freaking stoked.
Hell yeah, dude.
It's a gigantic house.
It's a damn good one.
That's pretty sweet.
Yep.
That's
It's
awesome.
closer to both our works.
Well, it's close enough. So, but yeah, I'm really excited. I've
That's
seen
awesome.
it, walked it, fell in love with it. I already got plans out for the remodel.
That's how it
comes
happens.
together.
Yeah, dude.
Sometimes you just know, you know.
Yeah, man.
I'm pretty excited. It's already got some rooms built out that are just gonna need to put some walls up on. Like the framework is there, but I literally have like a sectioned off area for a grow already, like veg, flower,
yeah,
and dry, all right there.
Nice.
So yeah.
Yeah, and what's cool is like she's already got like the blueprints on the listing had the blueprints, so she can just print those off and like
Yeah, I've
do whatever
just
she
been
wants.
drawing lines and erasing and shit with what I've got working there. And when we walked through, I took video and stuff like that so that we got the listing pictures and then the video pictures and stuff. So trying to make it all come together, and it's so fucking fun. Oh my gosh. So that's kind of, I've been busy lately. I guess we've been pretty freaking busy.
Yeah, but it's all coming together, it seems like. So it'll be cool. I'm excited.
And it's gonna be awesome that I won't have to like ask a landlord for the first time to be like, hey, can I remodel this? Can I put a wall up here? Could I grow here? It's just mine. I can just grow.
Freedom. It's nice.
It was the best.
I wouldn't grow outside.
No,
But,
definitely not yet. So, but still, grow something outside. Grow something fun out there.
Yeah, we
still.
we already got all kinds of plans there too. We can do raised beds everywhere.
Mm-hmm. So, really, my fingers are just crossed. I put a lot of work into it. Yeah, I'm stoked, guys. I'm really excited.
Yeah,
That's all I guess.
Yeah, I've already been there, done that with the house thing. So it was exciting at one time, and now it's like a hassle.
Well, yeah, I feel like, yeah, if you're on the other side of it, but this is the first thing I get to have my name on and have for my
That's
boys
fun.
and stuff, and it's like,
That's
damn
what's
good job.
Mhm.
Yep,
It's a nice accomplishment.
for sure. And then the next step is to pay it off. And then you feel really, then you get that
Yeah.
weight off your
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That takes a long time. So
Yeah. Oh yeah.
long time.
I'm just
Got some long days ahead, I guess. But
yeah.
Yeah.
It's all worth it though, because you work. That's the thing. Is like I always hated when I was renting because I knew that like here I am giving this
Mhm.
fucking money to this other person just because
Yeah.
and I'll never own anything more because of this money I'm giving to this fucking person.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm telling myself like I can't be mad for having too much on my plate when the goal is to eat. Like you make sure bills are paid, your house is paid for. You got to make sure those ends are met for. So I'm doing that, and I'm getting things in life that I didn't know I could get to, and it's oh my gosh, it's fucking awesome. So,
Okay.
That
anyway,
was cool.
thanks, y'all. Thanks. I just really wanted to share that because I guess I've been working at it for a little while now, and it's like, it's damn real.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just catching up to chat. I see Galaxy Solutions was asking about Spartan Puke. Where can you get them? Just shoot me a DM or a message or an email, and I'll get some to you, man. Just tell me where to send them. No problem.
Same day shipping.
I don't know about all that. That's a tall order right there.
Can we make that happen? Me and Nicole
I mean,
story.
for a long night.
let's just be clear. Those were not my words.
Can you tell who runs the customer service side of the business?
Wow.
She might have just lost her position.
I just try to find things to talk about, but you guys hear about the drop, the new average low of $65 per ounce for flour in March.
Well, to be honest, I'm not really in that market, so yeah, this is all news to me.
Is it sad that that's what it looks like as well? That's kind of fucking gross.
Yeah, where's this?
Pleasant.
That's what you
grabbing
hold
that.
up as the best example to entice everybody.
Where's the credit? Where's the credit? I want the
I like
photo
that
credit.
they're at least showing what is $65 an ounce.
Yeah.
At least they're showing the representation of it's a good representation of $65 an ounce. A leaf with no trichomes.
Literally no trichomes.
Some outdoor that's been blasted.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, if it's $60, that means there's something wrong with it. So, in my book, so I don't know.
Hey, this is what I gotta say about $65 ounces. That's fucking $65 ounces to somebody who couldn't afford $100 ounces, couldn't afford $150 ounces. Maybe that's all they can afford. So that's, you know what I mean? That at least that's more weed.
Yeah, but I worry about, are they getting the best quality? Because if they're a medical patient, I worry about, what's being, offered to everybody in the rec market right now.
Do you worry about people drinking Coors Light when they could be drinking something else?
Yes, because that shit is filled with glyphosate and terrible for you.
I know. I mean, kind of. Because if it is a situation in which you get what you pay for, then yeah, you're just like, are you doing more harm than good?
Access. If you have everything that's expensive, and that's less people that can have access. So
I understand.
I'm saying, like I said, what I said at the beginning, this is not my market, right? This is not, this I wouldn't know about this really, but at the same time, I'm not mad about it. It doesn't make me mad. I think it makes me glad.
It seems like there's definitely a balance between things like access and quality and quantity and price and all those.
No, I'm saying as long as there's access to all of those, as long as they're still available, quality is still available, and they're choosing. Maybe that's all they can afford.
I understand, and I'm not disagreeing whatsoever. I think that it would be nice if everyone had nothing but access to high quality medicine at affordable prices. You know what I mean?
No, it would be nice as if they just could grow it themselves, and they're able to do that, and they did that.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
but some can't.
Yeah, well, most can. I think most can. You know what I mean? Think about the number of people that own their own homes, like you're talking about with the mortgage, right? Versus that rent an apartment. And how many of those people are allowed to grow cannabis in their apartments or their condos or their townhomes or whatever? You know what I mean? It's like, no. Yeah, and you're likely not going to have a backyard to throw up a greenhouse or something like that. Like, I would say a majority of people are still not in a place where they could just grow cannabis. Now, I started in a closet. It's not like you can't do it, right?
That's what I was kind of.
Yeah, I mean, there's always, rules are made to be broken or whatever, right?
It's kind of nice because I think that like a handful of my neighbors I don't think care, but then I think a handful of my neighbors that care think that there's nothing they can do about it because it's legal. You know what I mean? Like, I think that some people just mind their P's and Q's because it's.
Red, you put a billboard in your in the backyard that says you can't do anything about it because it's illegal or because it's legal. And then they just read the sign.
That's what he's using to cover up so they can't see it on the screen.
Exactly. He's making it legal because then you can't see it. That would be hilarious.
Yeah, I mean,
It's one way to do it.
Yeah, the cannabis towering over the fences and the chickens squawking and like allow them. And I think that there's almost like an ignorance is bliss type of a thing.
The backflips.
You know, yeah, it's easy to be paranoid about it, but we're all legal to grow 12 plants. The worst thing that could happen if you got some in Michigan, I'm speaking Michigan specifically. Worst thing that could happen in Michigan is
a misdemeanor.
Well, no, they tell you to get rid of your plants. They're not going to give you a misdemeanor.
Well, yeah, that's if you got 762 plants.
Yeah. If you just have some plants, you just have some plants. They legally can't. If you have 12 plants in your backyard, they legally can't do anything unless they're like, I don't know, like not locked and stuff. And then they're going to go, you need to put a lock on here.
Well, speaking of that, I mean, we haven't talked about this yet. How do you guys feel about this one?
They've already, I thought they already fucking made that decision. So I guess that's cool that they've upheld it.
Yeah, I thought that was a long time ago thing too. But.
I think in other states this has happened. I'm not sure if it has.
Oh, in Illinois, the wording is that the smell of combusted marijuana.
Yeah, which is so stupid.
Cannot be used to justify a search.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing here in Michigan is like, I mean, we got 36,000 people or whatever that were working in this industry going home reeking of weed every day, and not necessarily combusted weed, possibly, but very much reeking of weed, and it's like you can't really get it off yourself by just changing your clothes.
That actually, I wanted to actually bring up that point. Like, so when we talk about terpenes a lot, and yeah, we know that like a lot of the flavonoids or smells in cannabis aren't terpenes; they're other compounds, sulfur compounds, all these other compounds, right? What compounds are still stinky in the plant after it combusts, right? And by this, I'm not talking about just on the exhale of the smoke, okay? Like, so we smoke it, like, so a lot of the terpenes, right? They all have flash points and boiling points that ends up getting evaporated when we smoke it. Now, we smell it when it's fizzling or simmering or whatever, but we inhale it, it goes into our lungs, and then we exhale it, and it's still stinky. You know what I mean? So the smoke is stinky. You know what I mean? It's like it should be carbon at this point, but it's stinky smoke carbon, But then, not just at that point. I smoke the joint, I go to bed, okay? I wake up 6 or 8 hours later, I fucking metabolize like crazy. I sweat. All right. I wake up in the morning in my sweat, my body odor smells like weed. Later, Chuck. Peace out, Chuck D's Nugs. So what terpenes cause my body odor to smell like reefer? Like what is this baseline smell of cannabis that's not, I don't smell like lemons and limes when I wake up. You know what I mean? I'm not smelling like peppercorn. I smell like I drank a bunch of Corona. You know what I mean? Like there's that hoppy fucking flavor that comes out. Like,
did you have any Corona? I can't say the word.
Corona? No, this is a daily basis. This is my base stench smells like
my base.
You know what I mean? Like, so in like something's like in the plant, that's like, I don't know if it's a terpene that causes you just to smell like the terpene, but
that's the common one.
Like, and I've smelled like the plant my whole life. Like, and I don't just mean it's on my clothes. I mean, it's like I'll take a shower, I'll get it off of me, I put on new clothes, and 3 hours later, I smell like fucking weed because I'm sweating. You know what I mean?
That's
It's,
fucking awesome.
I mean,
And I don't eat weed.
On the tea break,
I
I would
rarely
say-
eat it. This is from smoking. This is from combusting.
that's where I was gonna go with it. Is like if I don't know how to bring this up, but if you've ever had a real high dose edible, there's a good chance the next day you
That for
smelled it
sure.
again.
I mean, I have RSO, and I can definitely smell that coming through my pores. You know what I mean? But this
I don't mean just through your
A
pores.
recent development, right? Or has this been going on for a while?
like my whole life.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Your whole life. So you were born.
I was in my like 20s, early 20s. So 25 years, 25 years, you know.
Damn.
Don't you know Red's birth story? He crawled up a cannabis stalk out of the soil.
Yeah, it was a giant can. It's planted seed. It grew to the sky. I was in the clouds and I slid down the stalk. And
He had the helmet of the
Now he's here.
with resins.
Just covered in charas.
The hair is it's how a wook is born. It's where wooks come from. There's this like magical mountain place, you know, people in
The one in True
shirts,
Hash.
things, tapestries, and a lot of bare feet. So hair, lots of hair. We sleep on hair, nets of hair. The hairy woolly mammoths, that's where they go actually.
Come back.
They're there. Yeah, woolly mammoths still are there. Which is crazy that woolly mammoths were around 4,000 years ago. That's wild. That's like yesterday.
Yeah, you heard that podcast, huh?
Yeah, that's wild.
Dude, the little woolly mammoth mice.
Little woolly mammoth mice, dude. I was inspecting
Shit's
Ruben
coming, man.
and like Ruben's maney, and I'm like, you are so woolly mammoth dog. It's wild how like, you know, the traits are in a lot of the animals even today.
Well, and just think,
not so far from you, Red. Chelsea.
well,
wasn't
yeah.
it?
No, the woolly mammoth chromosonically is like a step next to the wook. It's like I think wooks have like
It's
it's
Wook
like
ancestor for sure.
41, 42 chromosomes. Woolly mammoths have whatever is like 48 chromosomes, something, you know.
The extra ones are just hair.
It's mostly hair. Yeah, it stands on its own.
so I mean, how does that make you feel knowing that they can like bring back extinct?
Well, they haven't done it yet. So let me.
They already have.
Ooh, what did they bring back?
The dire wolf.
They have 4
have
dire wolves now,
They have
or
not.
3 or 4.
They have not brought
They
back dire wolves. Look
what?
at. They haven't brought back any dire wolves.
They
Look
bred
what they've done. They've took a regular dog.
dire wolf
they
DNA into a dog.
No, they sequenced what is it, 99.5 or 9.9% of the DNA,
Sound like
and
100 to me. Weird.
what's that?
That doesn't sound like 100%. That's weird.
Okay,
I guess it's not a dire wolf.
that's your argument.
How much of a percentage are we away from an orangutan?
Okay,
Well,
let me.
the wook is
let me-
actually 4%.
Let me get to where I was going with this.
Okay.
Okay, so if
Imagine
just
in a
okay,
world
just
where-
because they're
Okay,
no, just listen, please entertain this thought for a moment. Rusty.
I'm entertaining.
Imagine that we can do that, right? We can, even if we only have 99%, we'll just call it a flat 99%, and we can create this life form, right? And we can also crossbreed the data that we have, the amount of DNA we've sequenced with woolly mammoths, and just start putting little bits and pieces of it into mice, like their fur, right? For one example.
Right.
And now also consider like the amount of DNA samples that we send into companies like Ancestry.com, right? How quickly from today do you think, by combining that company's capabilities of creating life, right, and the amount of I think of almost nearly fully sequenced human genome we have through all this DNA sampling that we've been doing, How quickly do you think we could recreate the entire population of the world?
Oh, tomorrow, as soon as they get those incubators online.
9 months, right? Like 9 months after we create enough of those.
Those incubators are
like we're ready. The point is, what I'm trying to make is like we're ready to just create or recreate or clone.
They already have
kind of point we want.
They already have artificial wombs. The artificial wombs are already a thing. They already have humans inside of artificial wombs from a husband and a wife's DNA. Those things already are there. They're to help speed up, people having children who can't have children. I mean, all it takes is for that business to combine with the other business, to combine with the other business that combines with the genealogy business. And all of a sudden you have, clones of everybody who's sent into. Well, you have Ancestry DNA goes under first. First of all, they go out.
They already did. Yeah, they already did. So
they
someone's already.
They sell all of the information. It's no longer under their user agreement. It's under somebody else's user agreement. They can do whatever they want.
The investors, they got to recollect on it, so they're getting access to all that, which is China.
They
Russia,
sell it to the
Turkey.
company that has the human incubation system, and the human incubation system has the capabilities of producing millions of humans. You know what I mean?
We are going to create a simulation so fucking fast it's going to be fascinating. Goddamn fascinating.
My question is, did the movie The Matrix, was it a documentary? Was it a prequel to a documentary?
What motivation to create 1 million? They've already created 1 million people. They've got over 1 million people in China. What is the?
They have over 1 billion. They got like 1.4 billion.
There's no population crisis that they'd want to create more people. Why would they want to?
Well, maybe they wanted to invade with people that look just like us.
They don't want to invade with people. They don't want to invade with people. That's too costly. It's way cheaper to invade with fucking drones. Yeah. Look what's going on.
Yeah, but if you just all you had to do is incubate them. Maybe you can make them grow up real fast.
Don't forget about
grow out of the soil.
Like the future's like
looks.
Like it would still be very expensive to create a whole bunch of robots, right? You have to mine all the materials and everything
and power them.
But if you have a whole bunch of human clones, well, now you have a whole bunch of things that you can like raise into a world that they just think that their job is to be robots, right? Like the Truman Show. Like you raise them thinking that they live in this bubble, that their entire existence is only to go to work and like do jobs, right? And now you have the clones that do the work for everybody else, for the robots. Are we the clones?
For what though? What still?
Wait a minute. I just described.
I don't know, man.
Like our own.
There's like no
freaking out.
I'm gonna say I'm not part of that. I don't know what that is.
Because
no comment.
Food. You don't even have to feed them real expensive food. You don't have to feed them organic tomatoes. You can feed them
just McDonald's. Bill Gates potatoes.
Wait, I will say, if I could live off of those Soylent drinks, I would.
I would too. Oh,
that was easy. I didn't have to think about food for a while.
Although it'd be a winter thing for me. Just have Soylent in the wintertime,
and then snow peas in the summer. I love that.
Could we just hibernate though?
Sign me up as well.
For us?
Hibernation.
Can we integrate that into my DNA, please?
Do you know how much healing you would get done in those hibernation months? All of my muscles, maybe my back wouldn't hurt. Who knows? Joints that don't crack as soon as I stand.
You get float tanks, so we just lay in water, so we're suspended.
There, now we're talking. Yeah, no stress whatsoever on those bones.
You get pruny.
Probably.
I can't.
It's
I
salty.
don't want
it's salty water, so I don't know. I think you still get.
I want to. They could just tap me right there and just inject me with a certain amount of like psychedelics every day, all day long for that hibernation period. Just keep me.
You'll never know if you're actually woken up or not.
You probably don't even need the psychedelics if you get that.
You're gonna just have that continuous drip of DMT, so you're always in that
drip of DMT.
Oh wow!
Just lay there for 60 days, 90 days.
Yeah, make sure
you've got a full map of wherever you went.
Supreme Grape.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm curious about the information.
Really good problem when you're in the water, though.
There's catheters and such.
You don't want to go too far don't want to go too far with psychedelics and lose your bowels though, because you
tube me up, Doc. If I'm in there for 90 days, I'm gonna need something. Like
he's just got a big turd in his beard, just sitting here.
You have to like prepare. You got to preemptively eat a bunch of cheese. You eat a ton of cheese. You eat blocks and blocks of cheese.
Guys, we're talking feeding tubes and stuff. 90 days. What are we talking cheese for?
Back it up, dude.
Eating tubes and stuff. I'm out now. But, yeah, no, not a fan.
We got to get the DMT
like I need
in there
medical
somehow.
insurance. We need medical insurance now. They're gonna have to have.
There are other ways, believe me. There are other fucking ways that are way better.
You say that, but have you tried the tube method yet?
No, I'm okay with the old traditional lighter, man.
All of that sounds scary as shit. What you're talking about?
All right, Miss. I don't like smoking. Yikes or Clementine.
I love the.
Go
Clementine.
towards the
Loves it
K-hole.
hurts. Just makes me too fancy. Sorry.
I feel you.
Oh, my face hurts from laughing. Damn.
Sometimes you just gotta rub your face so it stops.
Yeah.
It's new for Russ. He's not used to doing that.
You're right. Roll school.
Yeah, we got a lot of work to do outside for vegetable gardening and all that, but I haven't really thought about the outdoor cannabis gardening at all. And I try to bring it up on the show and stuff usually, and come like February, March, and just kind of see what everyone's plan is for the year. But I swear, man, it's not until after like this Hash Bash Cup thing gets behind me until I can like focus on any of that at all. So
I always
here we are, but
I always plant them late and don't give a fuck. Put them in a fabric pot, and go set them in the yard. Maybe sink the pot a little bit in the ground, but like literally in the yard somewhere.
I'm back in my old house, so I'm going to plant a few out where I had vegetables growing for years and that had been farmed by the people before me. So I'm just
that's last year, honestly. I put it in the end of one of my
dirt.
But I put it in really late. I put it like August is when I put it out there.
Oh damn.
So it didn't get very big, but it still got some buzz. That was that
the Mac,
wasn't it? Yeah, Mac 1.
I should be able to plant stuff we usually like to plant around Mother's Day down here. That's usually when it's the safest.
Yep, I agree. I don't give a fuck. I'm saying 2 weeks from when 2 weeks.
Well, okay, so we already put stuff in the ground out there and then threw some mulch on top of it and said good luck. And then got snow, so
yeah,
they're gonna be fine. Yeah,
fucking Michigan.
But in case
they got watered,
right? But in case they're not, though, I did while he was out there, digging the big ass hugel bed. I replanted a bunch of our seeds inside, so that hopefully anything that we do need to transplant and replace, we've got backups going, or a succession at this point, I guess.
Exactly.
Which would be cool. So.
And I got plenty of beds, so we can still plant out. We still got plenty of stuff to go.
I'm trying the peppers. We're getting the sweet peppers from seed, but I think we're just gonna go get a plant or two of those.
Just buy those. I'd like to get
some
celery. Then we need to get some planters and some strawberries.
Oh, I can't wait for that. We're putting the planters all around the deck on the banisters. Oh, it's gonna be awesome.
I asked my 3-year-old while we were out there doing that cardboard what she wanted to plant. And it's just, I'm like, she wants to plant flowers, of course, but I'm like, what about the food with the vegetables and stuff? And she's like, red peppers and cucumbers. I'm like, yep, you eat that shit 3 times a day. Like, we're gonna plant rows of those.
That's exactly what my grandson loves. He loves peppers and cucumbers, and I cannot eat that stuff raw like that myself. So I'm like, man, boy, power to you. I can't. Ugh. Gives me an suggestion for the best cucumbers to make the little gherkins, the tiny pickles. Oh. What are the best cucumbers to get for that? Or do I just pull them out early before they get honestly don't know. I think those are going to be special.
Boston pickling.
I don't know.
Boston pickling cucumbers.
Yeah, because the pickling ones have thicker skins, which gives you that snap.
Ooh, okay.
Because it's not fun to eat them raw.
Well, I don't think we have any pickling cucumbers, so we'll have to get some of that.
Well, we can find those for sure.
We get seeds of that still and have some hardy plants.
Absolutely.
We've got a selected varietal here that we saved seeds on a couple of years ago. Nowadays we run a lot of our own. I think the only things we really buy seeds from nowadays is like tomatoes, and we use a lot of seeds we bought, but most of the flowers we grow save seeds. But one of the red sweet peppers, my favorite that I grew last year is Carmen pepper. It looks like a hot pepper. It looks like a wax pepper. It looks like a hot wax pepper, but it's deliciously sweet. And it goes red. It goes like lipstick red. Like red.
That was good.
It wasn't spicy, it was sweet.
Sweet, super sweet. It has almost like a flavor, like it wants to be like a cayenne flavor.
It was long and skinny though.
Yeah, like a wax pepper.
You could cook that up like it would be like for a banana pepper type. I wonder if it
pretty long. I mean, they're 6, 8
banana
long. And I'm actually gonna grow a yellow varietal of that this year. I selected a couple to grow. The Carmen, the yellow version of the Carmen I really like.
Did you guys grow loofah last year?
Yeah, we actually have some loofah sponges down in our pantry, if you will. We got a bunch of loofah seeds too. We're gonna sell loofah plants. So our plant sale starts.
I'm listening for those loofah plants.
Pretty much like 2 weeks out. I mean, I got some work to do, but like pretty much like the second week in May. So we're like 3 weeks out ish. Looking at like a month. Like a month from now is like full flight. Like I want to make sure that if people are getting any plants from us anywhere between any time in May, that they have a greenhouse, cold frames, or somewhere that they can put their plants so that they don't die. We put plants directly in the ground in Michigan. Peppers. I know a lot of people who tried planting their peppers last year around Mother's Day, and we had a late freeze and they lost all their peppers. A lot of stuff is good. Your cannabis is good in cold temperatures. Like a lot of stuff is good in cold temperatures. Tomatoes don't really like cold temperatures, but your peppers will fucking die. You know what I mean?
I'm kindly requesting 2 loofah plants be set aside.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, let me, let's make sure that the seeds are viable. We can get them going. A lot of stuff like squash and things like that, we don't even mess with yet because they sprout so fast. And by the time they sprout, they're huge.
Well,
like pumpkin.
55-day plants, man. That's quicker than cannabis.
That I've never gotten it to start vining or anything, and I've tried for 2 years now to get loofah to grow. I haven't tried in this Michigan soil, I will say, with those compost piles back there.
That's right.
Those are, I mean, honestly, there's some beautiful compost piles. I won't lie, but when I tried to grow them last year, I even tried starts indoor and transplanted them outside, and they just died off when they got into the ground. So oh man.
Yeah, we'll get you a couple.
Heck yes.
Try to get them.
And then you can take over from there.
Yeah, like right now we have a bunch of basil.
Peppers
are up. Oh. Tomatoes are popping. Everything is starting to need to be up potted. Today I cleaned out our greenhouse. Shout out to Daddy Red. I don't know if he's probably sleeping. Daddy Red, they've been doing some crazy work. They got a house out in the middle of the state, south, actually closer to Indiana. Shout out to the supplier of alcohol for our RSO supply. So we I go to help Daddy Red. He had a haul shit around. We had to dig up a big ass Japanese maple tree, dude. I'm so upset that we had to dig up a Japanese maple tree. I mean, the root ball was like 4 feet in diameter, and we like rolled it up onto a golf cart and moved it across their yard and stuck it in the shade and wrapped it in a tarp because there's nowhere to put it yet. So we don't know where to put it. So hopefully it stays alive. The buds have barely started to swell, so hopefully it's okay to be dug up. Anyways, I'm bummed, dude. It's like a 20-year-old tree. It'll be fine. It'll do well. Anyway, Daddy Red hooked me up with enough bricks to go. See my doorway right here? It's about 3 feet wide. 3 feet wide from the very front of the doorway all the way straight through the greenhouse to the other door in the back. it's 10 feet, so whatever that is, 30 square feet of bricks, and I laid all those today. And I mean, butt up against this one, footing that I have up front, all the way to the back, and I had to like tap them in and bucket. I mean, squeeze those fucking bricks in there. It was just enough bricks. It like fit like a glove, dude. So I have a nice brick pathway through my greenhouse. Now I didn't do like, it's all 21A, which is like a really gnarly rock. I mean, like foundation stone or like driveway. Like worse than driveway, dude. It's so hard. It's the worst to walk on, dude. I should have made it pebbles like 2 years ago, but I didn't. I've been walking on this 21A with my bare feet for years, and I finally have
Wookfoot.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, talk about Wookfoot, man. It is the thing that Wook nightmares are made out of. And shout out to Daddy Red for hooking it up with us. Shout out to my brother for hauling them. My truck's in the shop, and I wouldn't have been able to haul them all on that. My truck only pulls like 3,500 pounds, so it's not a real truck. It's like, it's one of those off-road vehicles. So it's and so I'm riding around in my little Focus now. So it's 212,000 miles strong, getting me back and forth to the shop, and that would not have held those bricks. Maybe 4 bricks in the back of that Focus. This
4.
I didn't know there was a weight limit on what a vehicle could carry. And
a 2007 Ford Focus can carry today about, I weigh maybe 200 pounds. 200 pounds. Let's call it about an adult person, and
not me though.
Yeah. So anyway.
I've seen him pack that car to where he's the only one that fits in it.
Dude,
All
that
the
car
way
has
up.
been jammed. I mean, head out the sunroof. Let's go. Like, yep, that's how I get down the road, man. Ace Ventura out the window, like back to the fucking windshield. Dude. So I got the greenhouse ready to go, and it'll hold 30 trays, believe it or not, in this greenhouse. I got a couple shelves that I put in there and cleaned it all up and got it ready to go. So hung some rope lights on the top, so I just plug in the extension battery, and I have some extended lighting for keeping the cannabis going. I don't like putting the cannabis in the ground too early. We have some season extension this year. Hey, Fergroli, are you able to pull up Rosemary's Oasis Instagram?
Sure.
Yes. We did get this dumping of snow, but we have a most recent photo of the dumping of snow, and I'll show a little picture of our season extension. And there's a couple pictures maybe prior to that of it. So we got this just the other day. And we have lettuce and kale and beets underneath that caterpillar tunnel back there. And I planted I put that caterpillar tunnel up, covered that the last Saturday. So the day of the cup, right before I went and met Fergroli, I was actually a couple minutes late because I was trying to finish doing this. But there we have.
How dare you?
We have all of our lettuce and everything all in there. And
what is this? Are these radish?
That's lettuce, and
lettuce.
In the right bed is beets. You can kind of see the beet greens, and all of that was transplanted. So those were all started in cells inside, and I transplanted all those. These beds on this side here are all kale, and then there's 2 more beds on the other side that are not covered, and those we recently seeded. And we seeded 1 bed with carrots and 1 bed with some more lettuce.
Nice.
Arugula and radishes, I think. So, but yeah, so this bed right here, we did radish, arugula, and lettuce, kind of third. And then the one with the cardboard next to it is going to be all carrots right there. So it just carrots, they're like almost surface sown for the most part. They can get washed out in rain really easily. Another thing is that you don't want them to like dry out.
They need like loose soil though, right?
Yeah, well, it's because it's like a root. So if it like hits a rock, you're gonna get like split and give you like 2 little carrots. So like it's
carrot with
you're
legs.
gonna, if you're eating your carrots, it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? If you're trying to grow carrots for a market, you know, you want presentability. You know, it's similar to like bag appeal. You know what I mean? You want marketability on your vegetables. So it's good to have loose, tilthy. So that's why I have those raised areas. So it's like, again, clay, right? The best way to remediate clay is to like put better shit on top of it and just keep building it up. And so like I've dug out those pathways and built it up on top, and it's mixed with organic matter. And throughout the wintertime, it's all covered with leaf mulch, and it goes. And then in the summertime, when it's time to plant in, I just kind of rake all that shit away and use it somewhere else. Sometimes it goes to the compost, sometimes it goes wherever. It's in the bed. I mean, it gets broad forked into the bed, like I was talking about, to get broken up. And then, you know, I'll plant shit and I'll leave, you know, like the kale and stuff. I won't pull the kale plant. I'll cut it off, and there's a ton of stalks in there. Like if you were to like go close up on the bed, like you would see all of the many years worth of like stuff that had been planted there. And I mean, there's even still like little seedlings and shit popping up, and you got to get in there and weed it out. But I'm not a huge nitpicky. Like if the kale's going to get knee high, I'm not worried about like some like 6-inch tall grass that's going to be growing unless the kale is 6 inches tall and it's going to get, you know, so like there's some stuff that I'll come back through and get later. And it's kind of like get what I can when I'm able. But the theory remains, you know what I mean? Just like the chop and drop theory remains. It's just not as, you do what you can when you're able, right? I have all these different areas of the garden for different things, because if you stick to one theory of dogma, you're never going to accomplish anything. You know what I mean? Like if I went only no-till and I never broke into the ground, it would take me years to have perfect soil, and I wouldn't have a good, like, you got to eat, you got to sustain, you got to put something in your stomach today. You can't wait till tomorrow. You know what I mean? Sometimes you might have to give something a shot of nitrogen.
Sometimes you might just have to shoot that bunny rabbit that's trying to eat your plants. So you
yeah. Dogma doesn't get you too far when you're talking about, you know, needing to, like, especially in the sense of like running and operating like a business. You know what I mean? You can have your ideals and you can be really true to them, and you know, you have to be fluid though. You have to be flexible and you have to be bendable. Like I have very strong ideals about, you know, chemicals and stuff like that. But if I didn't use cardboard in my garden, I would be overrun with weeds, and I would be using plastic instead. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I don't use cardboard that has ink. I don't use cardboard that has plastic films and none of that shit. You know, I use gray or brown paper cardboard.
I use all that shit, and then I pull up the next year all that plastic fucking tape and shit.
Yeah. You end up finding fucking
shrapnel everywhere.
I mean, and it's probably leaching into the soil. But you know what? I'm hoping that my soil is full of enough life that stuff's being broken down. I mean, you know, there's fungus out there that remediates oil. I mean, why isn't the fungus in my garden remediating, you know, whatever chemicals are?
Oh, it's happening. And you know, I'm excited to support you guys again this year with all your you know, the seedlings, the plants, and everything that you guys bring to the table. I was able to shout you guys out at my local farmers market this weekend, grabbing those dino bones I was talking about in chat. Someone was there, fairly new, I think, to the scene, and they had a ton of, you know, plants for sale. But like you're saying, none of them were vegetables, because none of those are ready to go outside yet. It was all succulents and all indoor flowers and stuff like that. But I got to talk to them for a second and tell them you guys were on your way to Ann Arbor. So good luck, and
thank you.
We'll see you guys next week. I hope you all have a great week. Thank you guys.
Later, guys. Have a great one.